Hey guys, so I'm just going to talk you through how I make my basic armatures with wire and wood. And I always start off with a sketch. This helps me plan it out and make sure that everything is staying the right size. Then I've got some chunks of balsa wood that I've just kind of blocked out in the rough shape that I need everything to be. And I've made a copy of the head, just a little cut out of the head. Just it just helps me to keep everything the right scale. Now this can take as long or as little time as you want it to, but I usually go through and take tiny chunks off at a time and just kind of keep checking, turning it around, looking at it from all angles just to make sure that it's going well. And then I drill my eye holes with my little Dremel bit. I'm just doing basic eyes for this particular puppet because it's got an eye missing. And this is the neck hole as well, so I'm going maybe 2 centimeters in for the neck hole. And the eyes are kind of shallow because they're just going to kind of sit on top of there. So I'm just checking that all of my pieces are lining up. I'm using 1mm wire for this particular puppet, and I'm just marking out where my KNS and my wire is going to be. And I'm just pushing into the wood here with this handy tool so I know where to drill. A bit of KNS is going to go in the head there. And I'm just going to start with my small, I think this is about a 4mm drill bit, just because it's such soft wood as well that I can easily cut pieces out with my scalpel too if I need to. These are my most used sizes, and you want one piece to fit nicely inside of the other piece, and this is brass KNS. You can get alley KNS too, but this is my go-to. And I usually try to stay over a centimetre. So I'm going to use my jewellery saw and these little saw blades to cut the KNS into the chunks. And I usually do one side at a time, just so I don't snap the blade because they are quite small. And once I've cut nearly all the way through, they should just break off easily like that. So I've got all of my bigger pieces of KNS here. Also, you need to cover one end of your KNS so that glue doesn't go inside of it, because then that will just be a nightmare. And I'm just kind of, this is the rigging point here for the little hip piece, and this is all of it kind of glued together. And I could have made a replacement spine and neck piece, but for this puppet, I'm just kind of showing you the basics. So I'm just putting a little chunk of KNS into the head here, and the smaller piece of KNS will be on the end of the neck, and that's what will keep the head in place. And so for the legs, I usually make a hole, so the hip and the leg section will be a replacement piece, and I'd usually make the spine a replacement too. So if a leg was broken, I would replace the whole bottom section. So for the hands as well, I'm using this thinner wire. This is still alley wire for the fingers, but it's 0.5 mm thick, and I get that on wires.com. And making 4 fingers is always tricky, but for these hands, I want them to just look super cute and really small. So I just kind of epoxy glued that in and stuck a blob of Milliput over the top. And I am now gluing them into the smaller sections of KNS that fit inside the shoulder pieces. What I do to fix that, you can see here that it's just sliding off, and during animation that would just fall off. So I put a tiny blob of super glue on there and just let that set, and then once that's dry I'll kind of sand it, and you can see that that's fitting a lot better, and that should hold it. And this is how I make my bones, just so that the puppet moves better once it's covered in foam and fabric and whatever else. It just helps to give it some shape. So that's all of my bones done. Got a nice little neck bone going on there, and you can see it just kind of moves better, and nothing's moving in a, it depends what kind of look you're going for, but it's just yeah, I've been told that this is a lot easier for animation. Animators will be your friend if you give your puppet bones instead of just having bendy arms. So this is my bandage pre-wrap that I saw into 3 chunks, and I'm just kind of folding it over and wrapping it around just to bulk up the areas. And this can take quite a while because you want to try and get it really even and smooth so that once you put on your skin, whatever that will be, it's not going to look lumpy and weird. And yeah, so this can take a little while and needs a bit of practice. But yeah, if you wrap it quite tightly as well, it should you should end up with something that looks quite smooth. So this is a thicker piece of foam just for the mid section because I don't want to wrap anything too tight around the midsection. I want to keep that quite loose so that it doesn't restrict movement. And doing the same for the legs as I did for the arms, but bulking them up a tiny bit more because I want the legs to be slightly thicker than the arms. And you can see how that bends nicely. And now I'm loosely wrapping around the midsection just to bulk up the torso a little bit. And here's how it looks, all ready for skin and clothing.